Hey there, everyone! Welcome back to the ABCs of RPGs, where we teach you the basics of tabletop role playing games. You've caught us in the middle of our concurrent game, Lancer. Uh, we are currently right in the middle of downtime. We finished kind of our first mission, and now we're kind of going to do some role playing and downtime activities today. And let's go ahead and introduce our pilots. I'm obviously Spencer, the game master, but our pilots are first up, Dalton.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dalton. I have he, him pronouns. For this campaign, I've been portraying Kish Lark, call sign Backfire, also he, him pronouns. He's kind of a mechanic turned pilot. He's always loved big, stompy robots as a kid, and it was his dream to get a hold of his own and make sure it was the best damn robot it could be. He was excited to get his first kind of like field test and prove that his robot is in fact very cool. Justin, want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everybody, I am Justin, pronouns he, him. I'm playing a character called Rico Manitoba, who is a jet pilot for the corporation for the area that I live in.
Use your words.
And I'm awesome. Yeah. Stay first, your last.
Nah.
Yeah.
Di, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm playing Mumtaz Kakmak. Oh, I'm Mike. I'm playing Mumtaz Kakmak, and he used to work security on Farfield teams, which are universal exploration teams. And yeah, he just worked security, and now he works on fire support for our team. So
That's perfect. Okay, yeah. Of course, we have two other players who unfortunately couldn't be here today. We have Ashley, who's playing the well-known Space Penguin-loving Python, who also loves climbing a lot. Ashley couldn't make it because she has work tonight. And then we also have Chris, who's playing Hailstorm, or Kabrakim, and I hope I pronounced his name right. But Hailstorm, who kind of joined in on the team as like an expert pilot and whatnot. Chris ran into some difficulties on the way here, but you know, I'm very excited still to do all of the downtime and leveling up for everybody else here and such like that. So I like to think, well, we'll narrate what Python and Hailstorm are going to be up to as well. So, but first off, let's go ahead and do our get to know ya question for each of our pilots, because I always love to introduce with that get to know you question. Dalton rolled me a D260 and got 230, and that question for your pilots is: what's your opinion on modern art? What's your pilot's opinion on modern art?
Sorry, I have to go through layers. I have to think about what modern art would be like at this point in time.
Yeah. Like, did we go back to Renaissance like paintings? Did we go to, is it just like
Right, yeah, like what is modern? Like, have we moved past like are the structured like are we already over and done with like the holodeck experiences? Like, have we moved past that already? Are we in weirder shit yet?
I'm just envisioning like a canvas, and it's just like a single color, and the artist is like, "No, man, it's new pink. You haven't seen this pink before. This is new pink."
It's just more, it's like even further abstract art.
You can in this red canvas, you can feel the painter's anger. It's just red. No, the painter's angry. Mumtaz probably doesn't understand it. Honestly, he's probably like, if you guys like it, like, go for it. I think it's stupid. It doesn't. It's a picture. Maybe it's a picture, or it's just a fucking canvas of colors. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, like if I'm being honest, like, Kish probably doesn't care much about any art that's not like painted on the side of his cool car. That's not like sick ass car flames.
If it's not flames making my mech go faster because I painted them on, then it doesn't count.
It's not. Then he just doesn't care. He doesn't care about it. So even regardless of modern art, it's like any art.
Any art in general, yeah. Kish is like whatever.
Whatever.
Rico or Mumtaz? What are your opinions?
We told you, Mumtaz doesn't get it.
Get it.
I reckon it's the same to the other art. Any art. Truth be told, I'm a bigger fan of, the high Baroque period of the Greek. But that's more of a physical medium. That's a focus. But in terms of modern art, it really kind of depends. You always got to remember the 3 C's: color, or the elements, color, line, form. And it also depends on the medium. So, am I pro or against modern art? I really, I think it depends on the piece.
Yeah. Does Rico make art himself?
Nah, but they made us take art history.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rico was a lot more educated about this than I expected.
What? Rico can have layers. Rico. No, yeah, Rico. I mean, he did go to college, so he knows a little bit about it.
Yeah. It was part of the general education that he had to get.
General curriculum.
Yeah, right. Perfect. Okay. So, let's see here. Who wants to catch us up on last time? What happened last time?
I think I can do it quick.
All right.
So we had been we were sent to connect with the forward position. We ran into a school bus, broken down school bus, so we fixed the school bus and they led us through the back streets. So we dodged a lot of, the enemy positions. And then we dropped off the school bus, and then we ran into a little bit of trouble. And some of us got pretty messed up. But now we met up with the captain. And
Not the captain just yet, but you did meet Staff Sergeant Garcia here at Forward Operating Base Saber. And Rio, your ship, NHP, told you that First Lieutenant Kim had something to say to you guys, to which he promoted all of you to license level 1 and gave you a bunch of exotic gear. But the captain, Captain Bridget Ferris and the Union Ambassador Banerjee are still missing. So that's probably going to be the second mission. That's part of the 2 mission here of the campaign. But thank you, Justin.
Yeah. I was 80% correct. I'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you were 100% correct. There were just things that weren't there.
Oh yeah. So hey.
Yeah. So in Lancer, there's the book lays out 5 stages of every mission. There's briefing, which we kind of went over at the beginning, the preparation, which was kind of like getting your mechs together and getting gear, getting reserves ready, which you didn't have before, but you will have at the end of this session. Boots on the ground, which is the longest step because that was all the combats and everything getting to here. And then stage 5, which is ending a mission in debrief. Now, we did that at the end of last session, which was Lieutenant Kim kind of giving you the rundown, saying here being at Forward Operating Base Saber. It actually says that it doesn't have to be in character to do the debrief. It can actually be out of character, like getting your license level up and such like that. And so that's why, especially last week, I was kind of narrating there's this one printer here. It's running hot because it's printing out all these fortifications, but this is kind of like a safe base where everybody's kind of meeting up right now. But and that's where we left off. So we have some very exciting stuff to go over today, and that is everything that you guys get when you level up. So if everybody could turn to page 18, let's kind of like, I briefly went over it last week, but I really just kind of rushed through it to just kind of like talk about it a little bit. The good news is CompCon handles a lot of this. And to everybody who's just turning in for the first time, CompCon is a free website app that allows you to kind of like manage your whole pilot for Lancer completely off paper, which is really nice because it does kind of like ease a lot of the everything you have to manage off of that and kind of puts it online, which is great. But you can always do this by pencil. So just to kind of
for those for you who are watching right now or watch on YouTube later, there is a level up button, so they automate a lot of it. I just found out that there's a level.
Yeah. So, what you get from leveling up, if you're looking at page 18, you get to add +2 to an existing trigger or a new trigger at +2. So what this means is, remember how we were using triggers during the bus being down, right? That's when we were rolling the d20s, adding our different like backgrounds and triggers to it. So some of those were, if you qualified, which I believe Justin, you repaired the bus, right? Or you helped repair the bus? Okay, great. I believe you're adding +2 because of your engineering kind of background, right?
I have pilot skill trigger hack or fix.
So there you go. So you can increase that by 2 to get it up to a +4 now, or you can make an entirely new trigger. So if there's something else that you wanted your pilot to be good at, you can do that instead. So it's one or the other basically for the triggers. You can choose to increase one or get a new one. So. And having that +4 is really nice because if you ever encounter a difficulty, the worst it would reduce it is only by 2 if it rolled max. So +4 to like a specific thing that you're doing is really nice. So, but yeah, everybody make sure you kind of pick adding +2 to an existing trigger or picking a new one. Do you guys have any ideas what you might do with that right now? Or I can just keep going over the leveling up just so we can go through that.
Why don't you just run through everything we're going to do, and then we'll go one by one and actually do it all.
Okay, sounds good. After you work on your triggers, you get to add +1 to a mech skill. So if you remember back at the beginning, you got to add +2 to a mech skill or 2 +1s to 2 different mech skills. Now you get to do that again. So the 4 core stats, oh, I had it pulled up. The 4 core stats. Does anybody have the 4 core stats that are on your sheet right now? It's Hull, Agility, Systems, Engineering. Sorry, I found it on page 30. So, you get to add a +1 to any one of those, and like we learned before, Hull is like, let's see. So for each point of hull you put in, you get +2 HP, and if it's your second point into hull, you get an additional repair cap. For agility, for each point you put into that, you get +1 evasion, which is like how much you can dodge and get out of the way of gunfire. You get +1 speed for every 2 points of agility, means you can just move around faster. You got your systems, which is for every point you get +1 to your E-defense and tech attack. So that's something that Ashley's character Python would probably do. And every 2 points of systems you get +1 system point. So that means you get to add in more systems into your mech, which is like the custom paint job and putting in a CompCon system and getting grenades and such. And then lastly, there's engineering, which for every point of engineering, you get +1 to your heat cap. Dalton, I'm not sure if you're going to go for it if you want a higher heat cap, but that allows you to kind of store more heat without like having that kind of overheating without doing the overheating table. And then for every 2 points, you get +1 to the maximum uses of any limited systems or weapons that you have. So that's what that does. Next up, you get +1 to a talent rank. You get +1 to choose a new talent rank, or you can improve an existing talent rank. Now, these are the stuff that in the compendium, they start at page 90. This is stuff like Ace and Bonded. I believe Justin, I'm keep using you as an example because I recall all of your stuff so quickly. But you took the engineer.
I did.
talent.
It's cool.
So you can
Yeah.
bring that up to a level 2 now if you want to do that, which brings it from just the prototype up to the revision, which is neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then next up, the last thing you get is a license rank to spend on mech talents and licenses. We've talked a little bit about before. We'll go into more detail here in a little bit, but basically there are 4 different manufacturers, each with a different mech system. Now, you won't get a new mech frame. There's a ton of mech frames that are there. You won't get a new mech frame until you invest 2 points into that specific mech. But if you put 1 point in, a lot of them you'll get their main weapon that they use. Like for the Raleigh, they have a revolver that they can shoot. For what was the flame one you were thinking about using, Dalton? Was it the Genghis? You get his flamethrower at level 1, I think.
Yeah, I think that was that one.
Yeah, we can go into more detail about that in just a little bit, but that's what you use your first license rank into, is getting kind of like the first set of equipment and kind of planning ahead at what mech frames you might want to do next, which is cool. Or you just might use the Everest for the rest of the time, so you can just kind of get different weapons or systems that you want to add to the Everest, which is cool. Last but not least, there is a thing called the pilot's grit. Grit is basically kind of like the overall progression system. The more you level up, the more your grit increases, and it's just supposed to be that like your pilot is naturally getting better. So grit, specifically, I'm trying to see, it's equal to 1/2 of your pilot's total license level. So since it's 1 right now, and it's rounded up. So since it's 1 right now, your grit is just going to equal 1 because it's half of that rounded up. So it's just going to be 1. So let's see here. Where is specifically grit? Grit adds a lot of different stuff to what you do. So I was gonna try to find, like, it adds to your HP and everything. Let me find the specific page for grit so we can go over that more in detail. But yeah, first off, while I'm looking for that, do you guys have any questions about how the leveling up system kind of works, or is there anything that I was going over that you weren't sure about?
No, that all makes sense. Just a couple things to add onto it. There's like additional powerful core bonuses that you get at higher levels that come later. You get every 3rd level. There are very strong core bonuses that like will affect all of your mechs going forward that you can pick. And also at any time when you're leveling up, your license level is increasing, you can reallocate any amount of these points into other bits. So I can take all of my ranks from one of my talents and move them somewhere else to a different talent. I could take all of like my licenses to some other license elsewhere. Like if I decide to put a license level into the Barbarossa and a license level into the Iskander, when I go to like license level 3, I can take those 2 license levels and my 3rd one and put them all into something else entirely and redo my whole setup. So it's kind of, you're not really locked into a strict progression as you pick out these things. If you find that something you picked isn't really fitting well or like working well or working as you'd expect, the next time you level up, you can just toss it aside and try a new thing.
Yeah. I did find the specifics for grit. So, like I was saying before, right now everybody's grit is half your character's license level rounded up, so it's 1. So you add it to attack bonuses, hit points, and save targets for both your pilot and your mech. So now everybody's adding +1 to all their rolls, just right off the bat, which is great. I believe CompCon automatically adds all of that to your mech stats and such like that. It's just good. Yeah.
You have to like go through the level of process in CompCon and then we'll do it.
Yeah. All right.
Well, what were you guys thinking? I'm probably gonna just add. I think I'm gonna add to my existing get somewhere quickly skill trigger. I think that seems like broadly useful and fits well kind of like with what we were doing today. Or well, yeah, today. I think that's just what I'm gonna do. As like kind of go focus a little bit instead of going wide. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I was thinking about upping my hacker fix.
Getting a new trigger of lead or inspire.
Okay, yeah, you were doing a lot of telling people what to do for the mission.
It usually worked. I was usually
They were doing it. Yeah. Following your orders.
Cool. Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Next, I think is the pilot talent.
Next skill. And then, yeah.
Well, CompCon is not in that order. CompCon is skill trigger, and now it's on the pilot talent. So sorry, Spencer. You have been supplanted by the machine. It has decided that it is more important, and its order is what matters.
It's what matters.
I don't know. What are you guys thinking? The pilot talents are all super interesting. And like I know I had a couple that I was also looking at to like add on to, but I almost feel like it's better to again focus and like get a rank.
Getting rid of spotter and I'm replacing it with drone commander, and then I'm gonna upgrade heavy gunner.
That's a good point. I could like drop one of these because like I had brutal as one of mine, and it's really cool, but I literally never rolled a nat 20 and got it to work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, knowing that we're not going to keep playing and it doesn't really matter.
It does matter, Dalton.
Sure.
I mean, we could keep playing. Nothing's saying we can't.
No, Spence, we have to play Dune next. We can't.
I mean, we could just keep playing outside of this. Nobody's saying that's against the rules.
We could always return. I'd love to return to some of our older campaigns.
Can't be done. All the character. I delete all the files as soon as we.
No.
Personally, I'm gonna add a rank 2 onto Nuclear Cavalier. Because I think that is the funniest one so far. It's
Fusion Hemorrhage.
Yeah, Fusion Hemorrhage. So the first ranged or melee attack roll I make on my turn while in the danger zone deals energy instead of kinetic or explosive, and also deals an extra 1d6 of energy damage on a hit. And I was making use of aggressive heat bleed a lot already.
Yeah.
Like being in the danger zone a lot, and so this feels like one, the most immediately beneficial, and 2, it takes me one step closer to just being able to like toss my spent fuel rods at people.
Here, catch.
Love it.
It's so awesome. It's just, yeah. It's a main CQB, range of 3, threat of 3. It deals 1d3 plus 2 like electric, and on attack clear 4 heat. That's incredible.
Yeah, I love the description of it. Is shortly after becoming a pilot, you realized something. That machine you pilot is powered by a series of cascading nuclear reactions. Why not open that compartment up and see what sort of damage it can do? Like I'm being powered by a bomb. Why don't I make use of that? Justin, what are you doing with your character?
I think I'm gonna pull back Exemplar. Like it's cool, but again, with the bonuses that we're doing and the way that we're playing, I think if you're playing smart, you don't really need to do a lot of re-rolling. It seemed like. So while cool, I think it's probably better spent to at least put that 1 point in engineer.
Yeah.
Which gives me which gives my prototype weapon, which I actually had a couple questions about. So it says main, and it says melee QCB rifle cannon launcher nexus. So this could have been a QCB.
Yes, you could have made it as yes.
Okay, because that's cool, because that works with my Vanguard, which gives me a bonus QTB weapons, which is cool because I have shotguns.
Yeah. Speaking of, Justin, I do think I'm gonna drop Brutal and replace it with a level of Vanguard. I think that's more useful, and I was also all in on like close quarters combat weapons mostly, like with the shotgun, and I think I'm gonna be taking a license level that gives me another close quarters combat weapon.
Yeah. And I am kind of torn between using the new point that we have to put that just load up in engineer, which changes my limited use from 1d6 plus 2 to 2d6, and I would do 1d6 plus 4 damage. And revision, I can either choose to make it to always get accuracy. And then that combined with my Vanguard, if it was a QCD weapon, means I would effectively never miss. Either that or not use that final draft, that third level of engineer, and instead take duelist. The duelist is kind of cool if you're using swords.
Yeah. I honestly, while we were playing, I don't know, I was similar, Justin, where like I had a mix of close quarters and melee, and I feel like as I'm thinking about leveling up, I feel like I should focus in on one or the other and not try to do both.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how I was feeling.
Using the range of 1 on my engineered weapon, I could call back the revision, and since I have Vanguard, since it's a QCB weapon, I get accuracy from Vanguard, and then I could dump another one into Blade Master, which gives me a really good, once around when you hit at the second level of Blade Master, once around when you hit with the melee weapon, you gain a Blade Master die. Up to a round of 3 Blade Master die, which is D6, and they last until you've expended them or the current scene ends. You can expend them 1 for 1 in the following ways. Parry, as a reaction when you're hit with a melee attack, you gain resistance to all damage, heat, and burn dealt by the attack. Or deflect, as a reaction when you're hit by a ranged attack, you can roll any number of Blade Master die, expending them. If you roll +5 on any of these dice, you get resistance to all damage, heat, and burn. Faint, as a free action, you can choose an adjacent character. When moving, you ignore engagement. Don't provoke reactions from your target until the start of your next turn. Or trip, as a quick action, you choose an adjacent character. They must pass an agility save or fall prone. Whatever the reaction, you may freely pass through their space until the end of your current turn, although you can't end your turn in their space.
It seems pretty good. Like especially the option to like not provoke Overwatch seems good. I ran into a lot of situations where like I was trying to mix shotgun and knife, and I had to kind of like pick between taking disadvantage or taking in a difficulty with my shotgun because I was in melee, or backing up and provoking Overwatch.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me anyway. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll have Duelist and Vanguard, and then I'll keep the shotgun just to have a little bit of distance on the gun. switch over, get rid of the PCB to go full, and then have an assault weapon. That might be what I'll end up doing.
I love that there's so many options.
Yeah, and it's tough. And Mike, you already described your stuff, right?
Yeah, so I got rid of Spotter. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
So at level 1, when an allied character adjacent to you attacks the target and consumes lock-on, they may roll twice and receive either result, which sounds great. However, the key part is when an allied character adjacent to you, and with being like fire support versus my teammates always wanted to be in the front lines, that never happened.
Yeah, you almost need like a dedicated sniper character to like be attached to. And yeah, unfortunately, we didn't really have somebody in that role.
So I want to get rid of that. I ended up doubling down on Heavy Gunner. Heavy Gunner I think is cool. I also never really used it. So Heavy Gunner, I gained the covering fire quick action, which just lets me have like a reaction to like a quick action or reaction. Either way, it gives me an ability to like shoot people if they start moving, which is cool, but you have to use it with one of your heavy ranged weapons. And I had a howitzer, which was like not ideal for that. So I think I want to keep it, but this time I'm going to switch my heavy weapon to a rifle. And I'm going to, instead of having like a howitzer as my heavy weapon, I'll just do like a mortar as my main weapon. Basically flip them. So that way I can still use the covering fire, and I doubled down that I'm upgrading it. So if you successfully hit with the covering fire, the target's immobilized to the end of their next turn. So it just makes it better. And then the new one was Drone Commander. Since I ended up using my drones a lot more than I thought, it gives my drones plus 5 HP. And it gives me a protocol which allows me to move the drones up to 4 spaces.
Oh, they get to shuttle about.
So that way, like as is without it, you just like slap the drone up and it's just kind of there. And it's there until it goes away. This way, they can move.
Yeah.
And they're stronger because they have more health. But the fact that they can like move if all the enemies in the area are dead.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Scuttle about. That you being able to like react and attack somebody reminds me a lot of the Archer NPCs kind of like abilities, because that one was doing that in the last battle too, where he was like marking a target and then it would use his reaction to like shoot you and interrupt you with like an attack if you tried to move. So reminds me of that, which is cool.
Yeah, specifically the covering fire. If I use a quick action, someone's impaired until the start of my next turn. If they move the target, they clear impaired, but I may attack them as a reaction with a heavy ranged weapon for half damage, heat, or burn. So it just gives me more opportunity to shoot people.
Yeah.
That actually gives me a good idea. I think if we were gonna play again, I would get rid of that Vanguard feature. I'd put 2 into Duelist so I could have that kind of extra sword stuff going on. Keep 1 in Engineer, and then move that final point to Executioner, which once per round when I attack with a heavy or super heavy weapon, which I usually attack with my like heavy sword, I can make another attack as a free action against another adjacent character. It deals half damage, but it's still pretty good because that builds on my Duelist feature of getting Blade Master die. And I can just spend those like, as long as I'm hitting, I can just use those like candy.
I love that. That gives me big guts from Berserk vibes, where you're just swinging around a big giant thing of metal and just hitting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Great. I also didn't realize Technophile was what it was. It's just getting an NHP like AI that you get to like can help you pilot your mech and do stuff, and I think that's really cool.
Oh, that's cool if you're going to be like detached from your mech, like your character's deal. Because there's other stuff I was looking in the book, like you can, if you're on foot and you have the right gear, your pilot, like in Titanfall, you can be like, up there like throwing grenades into the cockpit and stuff.
Yeah. It's cool because even when it's in your mech at like the second rank of Technophile, you may reroll once per round. You may reroll any mech skill check or save, and so it still helps you when you're in your mech too. It's like a little bit of like that AI computing kind of helping you out. So
Yeah.
But anywho,
Yeah.
did everybody go over their talents?
I think so.
Great. So what's up next? Is it mech skills or am I wrong twice?
No,
Mech skills.
Oh, okay, good.
Reaching your talent. That's super cool. If you're like, oh no, like I really kind of end up liking this build,
Yeah.
or I like this about the build that I had. I want to kind of do more of that.
Yeah.
I can like just call that stuff back that I don't.
And it fits well too with like if you know sometimes you're putting your build together because you know your character is going on a certain mission. And
Yep.
they're preparing for that. And then like maybe when they finish the mission and they're given more access to stuff, they're being sent somewhere else. Like maybe I'm on an ice planet and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm being deployed into a city. You can kind of like work that in to your character's like abilities and kind of stay flexible in that way. Very cool. But
I just like that you can change all this because like D&D, I like being martial characters, but every now and then I'm like, I kind of want to play a warlock. Turns out I hate my class. I hate it, but I'm stuck with it.
Best you can do is put one level into it.
Yeah, so the fact that I can just like dip my toe in and be like, holy fuck, I hate this. I don't like these skills. I don't have to like in D&D, I would either just kill my character off or write him off or whatever just to start over. This way I could just like, I don't like this. I'm just gonna change it.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It really, like, narratively, I like to think of it as like your pilots are like super skilled. Like there's a reason why you were chosen to be a mech pilot, like, and put into these huge mechanized chassis that like allow you to go and do these cool things. And I like to think of like even when you're redoing talents, or like you can just rebuild a mech, but also like you can change up your strategy. Like you can be like, you know what? I'm gonna go from a sniper position. I'm gonna close in, do CQB stuff. I'm gonna make these adjustments so I can do that better. That's how I kind of view it. So.
I will say the pilot skills, the fact that you can change those feels weird. I agree that like you can change your mech for like, oh, I'm gonna be in the city, I'm gonna be in the forest, I'm like, here's a different mission. You can change your mech, you can change your mech skills. I get all that. When you start changing your pilot skills, that gets weird to me. Because you're just like, I just want to be good at beating people up on this mission. Like, I feel like that's a skill you do or do not have.
It works. It's like we're in the far future. We've got like skill chip
all
rules.
sorts of enhancements. Yeah.
Some bad meat, and then there's like little worms that you get that jazzercise your muscles. So if you need to get swole up, it does it super fast.
I love that Futurama episode.
You get my point of what I'm getting at. Of to like, some of it feels weird.
Yeah, I can understand. Like you definitely have to do a little bit of work narratively, kind of to make some of that stuff make sense. But
I don't think it'd be too hard because, like, if you put 2 points in a Technophile and then you're like, you know what? I don't want my NHP anymore. It's like, okay, well, like maybe make it reassigned.
I'm talking like apply fists to faces, like specifically like your skill trigger.
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
I'm an aggressive person today. I like getting in fights and I like being dominant and telling people what to do and taking control. That's great. Mission ends and I go on a different mission. I'm like, I kind of want to be persuasive this time. Like,
people
to me,
change.
that's like a personality thing. It's hard to just be like, it's gonna change it all.
People change over time, especially in war.
I guess.
Yeah. I think you bring up a good point.
Smart, now I got strong.
You bring up a good point, Nye. I would say it makes more sense with like because there's cloning and such, and clones can not always come back correct and such like that. It would make more sense like if your pilot were to be cloned, it would come back that way. But I also like to think it also gives space narratively to kind of like narrate your character's journey that way. Right? Like what made them choose to be less of a leadership role and take more of this other role, right? So,
Sure, but then pick one trigger to switch. Don't just like, I just want to scrap it all. It's like at some point it's just like, this is just a different character. This is just like an entirely different person you're playing.
I mean,
it's like a company, so they just like, you know, hired someone else. He quit.
Yeah. And they cloned a new guy. Maybe that's the backstory of one of your characters. They just keep cloning the same.
A previous one just walked away.
Yeah.
So they had to clone a new one. They didn't even want to. So like,
Yeah.
do we just?
Oh,
But-
before we detract too much, yeah, let's get back to mech skills.
I think mech skills goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
You
You have
pick
4
one more.
options.
You have 4 options.
What is it and why?
Spencer, you alluded to this earlier. I do think I'm just going with a point in engineering to get more heat capacity in systems. I mean, like, I was kind of debating it because if you want to play in the danger zone, if you increase your heat capacity, it takes more effort to get into the danger zone.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of like ramp up time. But like and I kind of thought about that earlier, but as I was playing, it was super easy to put myself in the danger zone.
Yeah.
I had a weapon that added 2 heat and I could overcharge for a 3rd, and that is most of the way there.
Yeah.
I could very easily be in the danger zone round 2, and not have much worry. And I felt I spent more time worrying about overcapping on heat than I spent trying to get there. So yeah, I'm definitely upping my engineering. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'm actually decreasing my hull. And I am moving that over to agility, and I'm using my new point in agility as well. That extra speed is really helpful, especially when you're doing things like boosting.
Yeah,
you know,
getting up
let's
close.
do 8 and 10. Which, I mean, doesn't sound like a lot, but with the way that these maps are, it's pretty big. The difference, the extra 2 is pretty big. And then with the hull, I still get to be a little bit tanky. Because 2 hit points is also, I mean, when I played, because I had 4 as we were going through last time, and it took a lot to mess me up. It took a lot to mess me up.
Yeah.
Like
And it resets with structure.
the
So.
recipient of, yeah, I mean, I feel like the mech saw me charge in and just like down a mech, and then they all started shooting at me sometimes, which is fair.
Yep. They're like, this is our new target now.
This is the big threat apparently. That comes from the side, just down somebody.
We have a guy who's literally invisible, and he's killed him before he can move. So.
Yeah, but being able to get in there, and this also ups the evasion, so like, you know, even better than extra HP is not being hit. You know, and I don't think evasion 3 is really going to give me like extra 2 hit points plus the 2 evasion is like kind of the sweet spot, I'm thinking.
I had 2 engineering. I think I'm just gonna add 1 to agility, just so I have the extra +1 to evasion.
Yeah.
I don't really need the heat cap because I'm not in the front lines. I'm not using any weapons that like add heat. And in the front lines, even if I get heat, I can just like stabilize and get rid of it. So I already have the +2 to that. I don't really feel like I need more. But considering the first fight I like died, I want the evasion. I almost went with the mech HP for that +1, but I'd rather just be harder to hit than assume I'm going to get hit.
Yeah.
So we going on the licenses? That's next.
I think so.
I think so. And
This could be this decision.
I've been agonizing over this for months.
You've had 3 mechs that you've been kind of going back and forth between.
I can't pick between any of them. All the mechs are cool. They're all so neat.
So, obviously, we have 4 different manufacturers. You guys have been using the Everest, which is a GMS manufacturer, just the general Massive Systems. There's IPS North Star, which their whole backstory is that they are kind of like a shipping company. And their mechs are all geared about like protecting the shipments and such. Gosh, I don't know I know how to classify the other ones. I'm not sure how to classify IPS and North Star. They just kind of just like general, they're more tanky, aren't they? I believe.
It looks like all of the first level weapons are like melee or close combat.
So that's it, yeah.
Good at grappling.
Mhm.
The break is just a tank. But the other one is
Lancaster is a healer. Support.
Lancaster support with like good mobility. The Nelson was this? Oh yeah, the Nelson's like a looks like paladin, isn't it? Like a boost and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's got that pike and it's got like the bulwark mods, which let it brace better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're looking at in the book. I'm not quite seeing.
yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. The license one for the Nelson is you ignore difficult terrain, which is kind of cool.
That is great.
Yeah.
That's good for a lot of you close combat people. So
And Warquake is
what I wanted to reference, if you're looking in the book, is each frame has like a descriptor of what role it excels at playing in combat. So like we were just talking about the Nelson, it's classified as a striker, which means it's good at like getting in fast and doing a lot of damage. Whereas like the Drake is classified as a defender, and it's good at kind of like being more of a tank and soaking damage or getting in the way of things. And like some are even kind of like hybrids. Like the Tortuga is a defender striker hybrid, and it kind of does a good job at like medium range, kind of like it could go either way of those two roles. But like if you're looking at playing a particular type of character, that can be one way to help narrow things down. Like Nye, you want to play more of a support, like fire support type character. So like you'd look at controllers or supports or like artillery type frames to kind of get a little bit of direction on where you might want to go.
No, that's good to know that I put it in the book, because on CompCon they just like, I don't like the way CompCon presents these. Because I wish they had a way that you could just at least put like 2 things side by side and just like compare numbers, or just like because right now you can only look at one at a time, which it just sucks like going back and forth. So the fact that the book's like, this is just what this frame does, is handy.
That's understandable. Yeah, like not having like a compare is a good call out, I think.
We'll continue to talk about the other manufacturers, but something that's important to note too is that before you go into any of the mechs under each manufacturer, there are core bonuses. You don't get them until license level 3 when you invest 3 points into them, but you get a new one every 3 levels. So this is also good to know, because if you're investing in one of these manufacturers, you get to choose one of these core bonuses to add to your mech. So IPS and core bonuses are on page 127, and they include stuff like a reinforced frame, which just you gain plus 5 HP, or slope plating, you gain plus 1 armor, or even like different types of frames and stuff like that. So that's going to be good to know too, is that you're like, I really like this frame, but oh no, the Horus core bonuses are really cool. I better invest in that instead. So that's more of like future planning. We don't really have to worry about that today, but that's just something that's good to know.
Yeah, the reason that's important, Spencer, is because you have to have 3 license levels in a particular company to take one of their core bonuses.
Yes.
There are definitely GMS core bonuses that you always have access to. But if you wanted to take a Harrison Armory core bonus, you have to have 3 license levels in Harrison Armory technology. Now I've known for a while that I want that flamethrower. So I'm picking the Harrison Armory Genghis.
Okay.
It's got a flamethrower. It's a 5 cone that does a lot of burn damage. And it also gets explosive vents, so every time I clear all heat or I take stress, it just like burns everybody around me. Just a little
big explosion.
A big burst explosion to burn everybody around me. I think that is very cool. I had a hard time picking between the Genghis and the Tokugawa. Because they're pretty similar in terms of like vibes.
Getting heat. Yeah.
In that they're both close quarters combat mechs that want to be in the danger zone and play with heat a lot.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this is if I ever level up and I don't like it, I can just switch, or I can take points in both of them if I really want to and mix them up.
Which is cool. Yeah. Nye, Justin, do you have an idea of what you're leaning towards? There's a lot of this, even more so than anything else. So
Okay, this may be a hot take.
Yeah.
I might stay with Everett.
Yeah.
I might. It's kind of great for what I needed to do.
That is.
That its core ability is so solid. If you know you're going into the big fight, you just turn that on and you become. I mean, it's Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah. The good news is everybody's gonna stay with their GMS frame at least until the next level. So you don't have to worry about taking that too much. The more things, I guess, is just some of the initial license level stats that you can kind of get, which it seems to be most of them are just getting like a signature weapon. So, Justin, you talked about getting close and personal and stuff. Like taking license level 1 into the Nelson, like we were talking before, might help you with like difficult terrain, but you get a war pike as a main melee too, which is great.
Yeah, that thing is beastly.
And you can throw it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can throw it. Yeah, the thing is, I was looking at that one. I was looking at some of the Horus models right now. Nye, since you have drones, there was one that looked kind of awesome. I forget which one it was. Maybe it's the Gorgon.
The Horus is very drone heavy. Like we were talking.
Maybe the Hydra?
Oh no, it's the Baylor.
We were talking a little bit about like what the different companies like gimmicks and like strength seem to be. Horus definitely seems to like really like drones and like tech attacks. And like smart weaponry type stuff. If I'm like kind of like getting the right vibes from all these things.
Is Harrison just about burning stuff?
Harrison seems to have a lot of like heat type things.
Yeah.
Heat related.
Because Smith Shimano Corpo, I was looking through, it seems to be kind of like agile strikers, but a lot of artillery too in Smith Shimano. So
yeah, they seem to be like stealth, fast moving, a good amount of like hacking type stuff I think is going on in there. I do like that I think they did a good job like distributing the roles and making sure like each company had like a representation of the different types of roles. Like everybody has strikers, everybody has artillery, everybody has supports. They're just kind of presented differently, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mike, have you decided?
I was looking at the Monarch, but that was before you told me like the book has the descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Monarch I like, at least for the first level, but looking forward, it's straight up all artillery, which is like part of support, but I don't want to just do all artillery.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like,
So I'm looking at the Duskwing now.
Oh.
yeah. I mean, one thing to keep in mind, like, is this is just your first level.
Yeah.
Like, you could always take that first license level in Monarch if you like its weapon, and then next license level, take that away and put 2 points into something else.
That's true.
But yeah, the Duskwing, I think, I don't know, on Thursday, was the Duskwing a smash or pass? It had 6 arms. I think that made it a smash.
I think that was a smash.
Yeah, I think so.
I think all of us had a smash. Oh yeah, because I like the frills, the kind of like loose, like yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because the Duskwing, you get a quick tech invade option.
Yeah.
And a rifle, it looks like nigh.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Duskwing.
All right.
Hell yeah.
It looks awesome. I always like to think though, too, that while these are kind of like the frames they show that they can kind of look, that obviously you guys design your own mechs. So if you want it to look any different, you can. But
yeah, I mean that.
Yeah.
The look is like the off the road, like off the assembly line.
Yeah.
Version of what that frame looks like with like default loadout.
Ooh, actually, I'm looking at the frame. Not a big fan of the frame though. Like the actual like stats of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter right now since you're not going to be.
Yeah, you
using
could
the frame.
choose this license level 1 and then redo it.
So many options.
I think I know which ones that Chris and Ashley would pick. I think Chris, because he likes his missiles, would choose license level 1 of the Monarch because you get javelin rockets and as a quick action, and as your main launcher, Sharanga missiles, which is like a range of 15, 3 explosive damage, and it can attack 2 targets at one time. Chris was all about those missiles, so I feel like that's what he would be going into.
I was gonna say, like, when Mike, you mentioned the Monarch, I was like, oh, that's definitely what Chris is gonna pick.
Yeah.
I feel like he would definitely pick like 1 license level into Monarch. He was all.
I feel like I like the first license level of it, and I just don't want any more than that because I specifically like the Sharanga. Because if I'm gonna have a mortar anyways, this gives me a longer range. It doesn't let me roll die. It's just explosive 3 damage.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it can target 2 at a time, it's arcing, and it doesn't have a load tag. Like the mortar has a loading tag that you have to fire and then the next turn load. Fire. This one you just could hit 2 enemies per turn with it.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
That is pretty good.
You don't roll the damage, but like it's just a flat 3 damage, which isn't bad. I mean, on average, if I had a D6, I would be rolling a 3.5. So it's like it's just an average damage. It's
totally.
So I might actually go with 1 level of the Monarch, knowing that if we played further, I would then pick a kind of like go down more of a controller support path.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I think I know. So Ashley, I think Python would probably do, and this is more so kind of a meme. I'm not sure if she would actually do this, but probably choose the Goblin. Less about that main launcher, but mostly because of the invade options that you get as a quick tech. It has 2 different things. It's puppet system. Your target moves its maximum speed in direction of your choice. So like you can just run them into like hazardous areas or obstacles and stuff like that. And then eject power cores. Your target becomes jammed until the end of their next turn as you temporarily disrupt their systems, ejecting ammo magazines and cooling rods. Characters adjacent to them take 2 electric damage. This is going to be used once per scene on each character, which is awesome.
That is cool. I was thinking maybe she would go with It was one of the Smith Shimano ones. It was one of
Oh,
the
really?
weird shaped ones. Um, the Death's Head.
Oh, the death set.
Well, yeah, because
Okay.
it gets mag clamps that let her like ignore climbing rules and just
Oh,
walk
Yeah.
straight up surfaces.
you know what? That is a good point. And she still gets a tech attack thing. So
Yeah. And it's still another, yeah, you get like the tracking bug with the new like an additional like quick tech to kind of like keep track of it. What does that do? Keep track of invisible people, I think.
yeah, on a hit, you know their exact location, HP, structure, and speed for the duration.
Yeah.
They can't hide and you ignore their invisible status. So yeah, basically it's kind of like scan, but like it stays up, so you can always know what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would guess if she was like, I think Monarch, or not Monarch, sorry, the Death's Head would be a good license
her,
level 1 for her, but that's
Yeah.
also like if she wanted to be more like supporty
Mm-hmm.
versus, I don't know, I also feel like she might want to be kind of snipery.
She liked dealing her smart weapons. So
She did like doing the smart weapon.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
I think that's it because we don't get a core bonus and the grit happens automatically. So I think that's our characters
Yeah.
leveled up. You can find Kish in the hangar bay installing all of this new stuff onto his robot for the next day.
Yeah.
Just like eagerly like staring at the magic 3D printer, printing it all out, just like fucking like hands like over his eyes looking in like it's an oven, like it's cookies baking.
It's so excited.
Yeah.
Oh.
Watching the flamethrower get printed piece by piece.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of the equivalent of eating cookie dough as you're putting in cookies that he'd be doing. Like maybe you printed something extra, like a little thing that you can just be like messing around with, being like, oh yeah, this is gonna how it's function.
Well,
So-
no, I mean, he's also, while this is happening, he's putting together his Harrison Armory Genghis model kit that he bought. That's prep.
comes free with license purchase.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, that's actually, now that we've fully leveled up, that's going to lead us straight into our downtime activities. And so this is pretty cool. I think we should probably take a break real quick before we come back and kind of do our full downtime activities. But how this works is it on page 53, they kind of talk about it in general. Well, they talk about the downtime actions, but you can think it starts on page 50, downtime in general. But there's structured downtime in freeform play. And it's kind of cool how this works because you do choose an activity that you're going to do during downtime that is listed on page 53. And you might get different things, you might get different reserves based on what you do. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be one of those actions, but those are like some strong points to kind of get you started. Like things like get a damn drink or get creative, like something like that. So, and I like to think that you could also just say what your pilot would be doing in their downtime, and then we can kind of fit it to one of those things as we kind of go through. But then there's also freeform play, which there's something included in Solstice Reign called looking around. We can roll a d20 on a table for things that are going to happen, but depending on what you guys do, there are definitely like points of interest that, like, if you're already doing something in that area, then you're just going to continue to do that. But this is kind of important because different things that you do will get you different resources, or sorry, reserves. They specifically say to share those reserves with your pilots. So that's on page 51 and 52. Those are the normal resources for downtime. But pilots, I'm sharing to you right now the Solstice Reign reserves. And the reason why this is important is if you want a specific reserve, you might want to choose one of these things, or like know that, oh, this is like in this area or something like that. Like one of these things is like talking to Vana and such like that. So it specifically does encourage your players to know what reserves they can earn, so that way they choose to do that activity. But it's a mix of structured like downtime, but as well as freeform play. So like we'll act out kind of these things that you guys choose But also additional things will happen because, like I said, there is this like looking around, including Solstice Rain. But yep. So feel free to go ahead and look at those reserves if you guys want. But I think this is a good time to take a quick break and then come back and do some downtime activities.
All right.
Well, we're gonna
See y'all in a few minutes. Bye.
Welcome back to the ABCs of RPGs. I'm Spencer, the Game Master, and I'm joined by my players, Dalton.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dalton. I have he/him pronouns, and I'm portraying Kish Lark, who also has he/him pronouns, who's very excited about his cool new flamethrower that he just got permission to use. The next time anybody pisses him off, people are going to get lit up, and it is going to hurt. Justin, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Justin, also he, him pronouns. I'm playing a character called Rico Manitoba, who also has him pronouns. I got a spear.
Yeah.
For that.
From the Nelson. Yeah.
I'm Mike, he, him. I'm playing Mumtaz Kakmak, and Mumtaz just got like a cool new mortar. It's different than a normal mortar. It can hit multiple people, and I don't need to reload it.
That's
All around, absolute badass.
Perfect. So yeah, we got word Chris should be joining us in a little bit. You might see our stream act a little bit weird as we kind of get everybody into place, but he finally is able to make it in. So we're very excited to kind of have him join the fold. But if you're joining us now, we are playing the Lancer. We are playing Lancer, the tabletop role-playing game. We're in the middle, directly in the middle of the Solstice Rain campaign. The first business mission has ended.
We're in the middle of the whole campaign? Sorry.
Yeah, there's a whole nother mission.
No, I'm surprised that there's only 2 missions. Was more what I'm.
Yeah, Solstice Rain is set up to be like the starter set type adventure.
Okay.
It takes you from license level 0, 1, and 2 across like 2 quick missions. There's like 3 other like more expansive like pre-written campaigns that Massif Press has done, and there's all sorts of like homebrew stuff people have written. No Room for a Wallflower is the like premier like
That was the first one.
adventure, and I don't know how much.
1 to 5.
1 to 5.
Sorry, I'm just used to D&D. They go for like years of campaigns. We've had 4-ish hour sessions, and we're halfway done. That's nuts. You can knock this out in like a week.
Yeah, I can. This will be more so covered in our post-campaign discussion, but they leave story hooks as a DM at the end to allow you to keep doing more missions on Presidium. But it doesn't have to be that way. You could be like, all right, things are wrapped up, let's get out of here and do a different planet or something like that. So there's definitely options. If you're looking for something longer, No Room for a Wallflower, like we said, 0 to 5. That's like 5 missions in there. On top of that, we did find out that No Room for a Wallflower, apparently that was their first adventure, and people gave feedback that it was not tough enough. So and then they made Solstice Rain. So if you guys feel like it's a little bit tougher, that's the reason why. It is an introductory campaign, but it is supposedly a lot tougher than No Room for a Wallflower. So anywho, so back to our downtime. So where you last left off, you got promoted by Lieutenant Kim for all your license level to be increased. So you guys have access to this new gear. The printer is located inside this main facility here. So if you guys are still looking at the map, Forward Operating Base Saber, I believe I mentioned this before, but is a refitted automotive manufacturing facility, Amanta Motors, which was ran by Ivana Mayhew. She was their factory's chief engineer. Currently, there is one a GMS Schedule 1 printer that is here that was supposed to just kind of show off the what this planet would get by coming into Union's fold, and now it's currently being you constantly churning out like building materials and fortifications, so it's running hot. So I know that Dalton, you said Kish was like he's like eagerly awaiting, like face press to the printer and watching things get printed. I like to think that all of you, maybe as you go up to the printer to get something scheduled, there's like a scheduler there who takes all of you down and goes, okay, I can fit you in. You get 3 o'clock. You gotta show back here at 3 o'clock. If it's 3:05, you do not get in. And he's like quickly taking down notes.
He says that, and I said, don't worry, I will wait here until then. And I go find a chair, like 3 feet from here, ready.
Yeah, Rico says, yeah, me too. And he pulls beers out of his jacket. You have no idea where the beers came from. They're cold.
I imagine Rico just has like a mini.
Oh, probably in the mech. Yeah, smell it. Yeah,
For sure.
the beer fridge.
Oh,
He's got a bottle cap opener like bolted inside the thing.
No, it's cool because there's just a little bit of space between the plate, and then it's right next to the coolant manifold.
That's what if you put personalizations, your mech is. It's just a mini fridge and bottle openers everywhere. Anywhere you could fit a lever, there's one.
3 beers.
Yeah,
right?
my personalization is the GMS printer, except it only prints beers. Cold beers.
Cold beer. How they become cold? We don't know. I haven't questioned it.
Who am I to question God?
Yeah, right? Like they're just supposed to print beers. I'm supposed to have to cool them down. They come cold. I don't.
So I mentioned this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
So I mentioned this before our break. Lancer kind of has structured downtime actions and freeform play. So what I'd like to do is, before we go to the freeform play action, which is the looking around in Solstice Reign, I do want to kind of find out what each of your pilots are doing during the structured downtime actions. Just like we were describing before, this is still very free flowing. Anything outside of mech combat is kind of like you get to choose what you want to decide, kind of free flowing, but there is some provided structure to kind of see how things could kind of guide you through it, like getting a damn drink, get creative, all that kind of good stuff and everything. So I wanted to kind of see what you guys would generally be doing, and think of it like this: if you want a time frame for these activities, you'll probably get, it's probably going to be another 24 hours before you get like your next mission. So your pilot has that time to kind of do what you want to do in your downtime. Think of it like 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for what you will. So
Wonderful.
yeah. So does anybody have an idea about, did they want to choose any of the downtime activities located in page 53? I like to think that all of you definitely scheduled your parts. Maybe you have like a card table set up. You're all kind of gather around this like hot printer that is steaming. It's starting to rain outside. Like it hadn't started dripping before you saw clouds on the horizon, but now it's starting to pitter patter as the hangar doors are open to kind of like let the hot air from this printer that's just churning out materials kind of come out. So I think we just got a message that Chris is joining, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I let him know we're on.
Perfect.
Do we need to take a quick break to like set up our cameras and everything?
No, we're gonna have to do it live.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't like edit one view while you're actively streaming another view. So,
Oh.
Here it is. We're gonna look weird for a second. Please,
Yeah.
please.
Ah!
No,
Dalton, fix it.
no, Nye. He's working harder than this Schedule 1 printer right now. Okay, you gotta give him a second.
yeah. So you guys keep doing your thing while Chris logs in and I put everything
Welcome,
back.
Chris. I can actually catch Chris up while you're fixing everything. So, Chris. So what we've done so far, we have leveled up. So if there should be a level up button in CompCon, if you want to do that, you get your first license level in a mech as long as with all your other stuff. So that's going to be like a weapon. You don't get a frame till your second level, but you get kind of like weapon systems and stuff. We thought out of all the mechs, you might like the let's see here. It's called the
Monarch.
The Monarch. It's the Smith Shimano Corpo. You were doing a lot of missiles, so we thought,
You would think that, but so I think it's called the Viceroy. It's from Duskgrave, which is one of like the Massif Press expansions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think I think it might be kind of broken because it lets you treat all launcher weapons, including like main and heavy and super heavy, as CQB weapons with threat 3. So you combine that with Vanguard, and all of a sudden your launchers have if you get Vanguard level 3 with this, any launcher weapon you have can be used to take like Overwatch reaction shots when something just moves in your range of 3, not just like leaves it, but like moves through it at all.
Yeah.
So there's like some really broken stuff.
That sounds insane.
Is that a license level 1 thing, or do you have to like work your way up to that?
It would be license level 2 for the frame.
Got
it. Because I know some of the frames from like supplements, because I was looking at the Enkidu, which is in the Room for a Wallflower. And it's really cool, but it's described as an exotic version of the Tokugawa. So like you put your license level points into like the Tokugawa's license levels, and you have to like work to get access to the Enkidu variant of the Tokugawa frame.
So, because I know that if you put the license level points into CompCon, you just unlock both frames at license level 2 on the Tokugawa.
Interesting. I don't know. I was just kind of, that might all be heresy, because I haven't actually read through like how Wallflower works and like that whole adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. Yeah, actually, right, the CompCon like compendium entry says the Enkidu can be taken at rank 2 of the Tokugawa license instead of the base frame, so I guess you get one or the other. But it is weird, it doesn't have this own like track of license level for like some of the DLC stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's super cool. From there, we were just about to just do more. So we just went over, we kind of explained what we were doing for like our new triggers and talents and such like that. Nye kind of did, I think everybody except Dalton everybody kind of refitted a lot of their talents. They wanted to respec a lot of different things just after experimentation.
I would say I think at most we only swapped out like one thing each.
Yeah. I described kind of the scene that you're kind of entering in is that basically there's a very the printer's just running materials out, so they had to get scheduled in by a very impatient worker, and currently everybody has unfolded kind of like a little card table and are eagerly waiting for their mechs and such to be printed. But I'm sure you've read too, Chris, but there is structured downtime actions and freeform play. Solstice Reign has a little bit of the freeform play that we're going to kind of do. It's called looking around, but go ahead and on page 53 there are downtime activities that everybody can do to try to get different resources. Chris, I shared with everybody the Solstice Reign resources. I'll share it again, so when you if you're in Roll20 you can see that. But basically it does encourage me to share reserves with everybody, so you can kind of see like, oh, I want to go for this reward, or I want to try to do this, and I can kind of set up like your downtime activity to kind of be aligned with that if you weren't sure. But does anybody have an idea of what they want their downtime activity to be?
So you said we're only really like, if we're doing one of these downtime actions that like are to find something or get something, we have to pick from this reserves table?
I would say no.
Okay.
This is just an additional reserve table. You can also use the reserves tables in the main Lancer core book.
Because like these, you were kind of mentioning like are results of your like just looking around the base trying to interact with stuff.
Yeah.
separately from the downtime actions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No. Sorry, I misunderstood you. These are reserves that you could get instead of the normal reserves by choosing a downtime activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but so like some of these say like name what you want. We can name something from this table.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Trying to think. The golden ticket where we get a piece of exotic gear. Do we already have access to all those because we did such a good job?
You have access to all of those. So if you wanted the golden ticket, I would probably rule it as like when you get access to those exotic gears, you only get like one print for each one.
Yeah.
I guess I would say if you wanted that specifically, you could have two prints. Yeah,
That makes
exactly.
sense. I don't think I was going to use any of it.
Yeah, I wasn't. The only one that was Ashley was going to use that like
Invisible thing.
yeah.
There was a nexus, a really cool
Yeah, the
nexus in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. XC-DPM Predator Nexus.
And I mean, the rifle seemed like a strict upgrade on like if you were using an assault rifle.
Yeah.
You may as well use that exotic rifle we got.
Mm-hmm. Which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you guys are still taking time to do your reserves, we can always do the looking around activities as well, because that also might spark your interest in what you might want to do for your downtime activities, or your downtime actions, I should say. So if anybody wants to explore a specific part of the base, just as they're looking around, I can read some of the stuff that, or basically kind of set up the kind of stuff that you're doing. Or for looking around, we can also roll a d20, and there's 10 different outcomes that could kind of happen as you're kind of doing stuff. So if you want to roll the dice, or if you want to initiate something that way, we can always do that too.
Okay. If nobody else has any ideas, I think I can get us started.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Okay. So I wanted to scrounge and barter to get my hands on some hot load ammunition.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
is what I want to do. So when you scrounge and barter, you try to get your hands on some gear or an asset by dredging the scrapyard, chasing down rumors, bartering the local market, or hunting around. You might want some better gear, vehicle, goods, narcotics, or other sundries, but it needs to be something physical. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the gear list, but if you get it, you can take it on the next mission as reserve. So I name what I want and roll, basically. So I'm saying that I would like some of this fancy ammunition, and I'm rolling a d20 to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I rolled a 17, which on a 10 to 19, you get what I want, but choose the price you need to pay. Either time, dignity, reputation, or health, comfort, and wellness.
Choose dignity.
I kind of want to choose dignity, just to see what Spencer would make me do.
I mean, you were looking for hot loads.
I know. Like, I think that's part of why I did this is to continue the through line of Backfire being unintentionally lewd with the way he words things.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So sure, Spencer. For the benefit of everybody here, I'll give up some dignity to get my hands on some of this hot load ammunition.
Hot load ammunition. Okay.
I don't know if there's particular places that stuff is around or ideas you had, but let's do this thing.
So for the most part, it's currently raining outside in this open base and everything. So it's pretty, and it's the road is kind of like a dirt road, so it's not really freshly paved. Everything's are moving about. It's wet if you go outside, and it's an active battlefield beyond the baseline, right? Like there's still fighting going on in the city, so it's not clear at all.
Mm-hmm.
And things are still a little tense, but like there are small pockets that you can kind of like still like relieve tension and kind of go around the base and everything. I like to imagine that everything you probably won't stray farther than the base borders, but you're kind of looking around trying to see, oh, where can I get this hot load ammunition, right? You're like, who can I talk to? Where you spot another group of pilots, kind of like all chatting amongst each other underneath kind of like just like a building overhang, kind of blocking the rain and such like that. And you think to yourself, oh, if anybody's gonna have some hot load ammunition, it's gonna be some other people who brought it from the Rio Grande. Right. So you go up to them probably, and I would imagine just say, hey, I want some hot load ammunition. Yeah,
like I go in and I'm being upfront. It's like I say like I'm a pretty big deal. People know me. I just did a pretty important hot drop and rescue to get here. And I don't know what's coming next, but I know I'm going out on another mission. And there's a lot of people out there with some heavy armor, and I think you guys might be able to help me out.
So you run into, you recognize these three pilots. It's Rex, Crash, and Bark.
Great names.
Rex is the leader of the group. He has his hair kind of like up in a big pompadour. Yeah, he has like a big kind of like front-facing like heavy load of his hair that you don't know how he must redo every time he puts his helmet on or something. But they're all just kind of like sitting there underneath the outhang. They go, "Oh, Kish, you really just want to get some hot load ammunition, huh?"
Yeah, that's what I asked for. You gonna give me your hot loads or not?
Look, you think you're the top ranked pilot of this town. I don't think so. Me and my gang, we actually cleared out. What'd you say? You did a big mission? What'd you do?
I mean, I can look through the mission report, but I must have taken out at least 5 guys on that last mission.
We took out 10 each. So
Yeah.
what do you say to that?
Prove it.
Well, that was the first battle.
Yeah, that was just I took out 5. Yeah.
A battle. We had 4 battles. That's
20 guys. That's 20 guys I took out.
Yeah.
And I could still keep going if I wanted to.
20, not 12.
Right. Keep talking yourself up. But we all know the real reason you're coming to us. Because we have what you need.
Yeah, those low.
We're just not going to give it to you for free.
Wait, let's pull rank on this dude?
No. Just remember the scenario, Justin. I'm explicitly giving up dignity to get this ammunition.
Well, that could still happen.
Yeah.
That could still happen, though. I have a way to kind of work this in, but
He's not mutually exclusive with Justin's.
yeah, Justin. Yeah. So how are you?
That's fair.
Pulling rank?
Yes, as El Diablo sees this, he comes in.
Demand that you kiss that man's boots and get us these parts.
El Diablo? What do you?
Boots now, Rabbit. Do as
You're not even my superior.
ordered.
Fine.
So that's a
Rex, if I do this, will you give me the ammunition?
Easily.
absolutely. And he grins, and his two hunkies go like, they like chuckle like very badly in the background.
Fine, I'll do it, but only because I know it doesn't actually mean anything. This is stupid anyway. And so I get on my knees and I kiss his boots. Are they at least clean? I try to like clean it off first. I take my rag out of my back pocket and I like wipe it.
Yeah, because of the rain, it's definitely muddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, Dalton.
Yeah.
you're good. I got what I wanted.
But yeah, as soon as you do that, basically Rex goes, Bark has some extra hot load ammunition. We'll arrange it's delivered to your mech whenever it's done printing. And they all kind of storm off.
Perf. Let's go.
Damn, you could have gotten the blueprint for it. Instead, you just got a load or two.
I don't think I could get I don't think I'm allowed to get the blueprint for it.
As this happens, this is a perfect thing for a looking around situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and have this kind of play out. So instead of having you roll or anything, basically, as soon as Rex and his boys stroll off, right? You hear from like the distance, and I know it's Backfire and El Diablo, Kish and Rico who are here. But if Mothman or Mumtaz or Hailstorm Cabrakin, did I pronounce that right, Chris? Cabrakin? Kim?
K Brekeen.
K Brakim. If you guys want you to be included in this, you're welcome to be in the situation as well. But Dalton, Kish here's about time you showed up. And as you kind of spin around, you notice it's another chassis pilot from the real ground. You recognize her as Naya Renaud. And they are like wide-grinned, happy, rushing over to you, not even noticing the rain. Mm-hmm. They seem to be just kind of happy to see you get back. But one thing out of everything, they are in a very happy mood to not only see you, but the fact that she is missing her right arm. And it seems to be like a newly, like parts of her like uniform is like just hanging like scratched off or like singed, I would say. Mm-hmm. And she comes over, she actually goes over to like shake your hand. She goes, whoops, sorry, it's new. I'm so glad you're here. You made it.
Yeah. No, I'm wiping like mud off my face. You didn't see any of that, did you?
If I say no, would that make you better?
I think so. I think it would. Let's just move past that.
No, didn't see a thing.
Great. Great. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to see you're mostly in one piece. Can I say that? Is that rude?
No, it's fine. They're gonna grow me a new one. But yeah. Actually, I was thinking, do you think I should go for robot arm or should I just get a new one?
Oh.
I know, right?
That's tough. Robot arms are getting pretty good nowadays.
Yeah.
You can get all sorts of extra stuff added onto them. I think you should go robot arm. Like even if like you decide you don't like it, you can always get a new bio arm printed, like made later, switch it back out.
He turns to Rico, and you said Rico is a cyborg, right, Justin? That's like what you actually did?
Oh yeah. He has like eye implants.
Okay, cool. So she turns to Rico and goes, how are you liking your new parts? Your parts, I should say. Should I go cybernetic for this guy?
Oh, I can't really instruct you on how to live your life to the fullest. That's not in my realm. I did make a man kiss another man's boots earlier, though, so maybe. So yeah, go cybernetic. Do
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, what happened to you guys? Like, I heard that you were able to shoot down one of those rainmakers.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You're not gonna
make it rain, shooting down rainmakers.
You're not gonna believe this. Like we got shot down on the way in. Did that happen to you guys?
Well, no, actually. We managed to circle around the thickest anti-air and we touched down safe. But we were ambushed by a sovereignty force. I think they must have been spec op. They looked like they were hunting something. One of them just vanished into thin air when we returned fire. Real freaky shit. But before they vanished, they actually shot it was like some sort of like laser beam. Took out half my mech, and she points over to her mech, which is also missing like that side of it. It's just like laser beamed off, like completely gone.
Jeez.
Yeah. And she goes, well, if you guys see them, you should watch yourself. Just make sure they don't fire it at you.
Yeah. Do you have, I don't know of any like mech-sized weaponry that can do that.
No, it was the mech that was outfitted with it. It was pretty big. They were hefting that thing. Mm-hmm. It was not easy to pull off, but that's why I was so surprised they were able to get out so quick. So
that's wild. I'll have to ask Rio about this and see if she has anything in her data banks that she can pull.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys made it back. Let me know if you have any more trouble with Rex and his cronies, okay?
Oh, I got what I wanted out of them. It's fine.
Well, Fair's fair then. All right. She kind of waves to you as she like skips along off. So. But yeah. So that was a downtime activity paired with that looking around. So
Cool.
Does anybody else have an idea of what they want to do?
I'm good. I figured I was gonna sign off. I'll just shut down the stream.
Bye guys.
I got some hot loads and I'm out.
He's got to sign off so he can go trade his dignity. We can't do that on stream.
Yeah. That's a different. I'd have to change the tags. I'd have to add a different content classification.
Hey Spencer, what page was the time activities on?
Page 53 is the list of like suggested activities. But if there's something that you're like, well, I feel like my guy would be doing this, we can just kind of like, it doesn't necessarily have to be this specific downtime action. These are just provided actions, if that makes sense. It says use these ones as starting points. So they can always be something else if you want to have your pilot do something different in their downtime. A good way to think about it from like a role-playing standpoint is like, well, what would be my pilot be doing in their free time? If they don't want a specific resource, reserve, like the ones that I showed. If there's a specific reserve that you're looking for, you can always just say like, hey Spencer, I want that reserve. Is there anything I can do to get that? And then I might help you kind of like role-play that out. But if you just want to start from like a purely role-playing standpoint and be like, what if my pilot would be, I don't know, I feel like he'd be getting creative and I don't know, painting or doing something like that. But yeah, so.
I was going to go with getting focused.
Getting focused, all right.
Mumtaz, he actually has a secret guilty pleasure. He likes to garden, so he's probably just reading a book on like gardening stuff, but he's trying to like, not openly talk about the fact that he's like gardening because he's in an environment of like ex-mercenaries, military-esque people.
Yeah.
That he's probably like trying to be off in a corner, just like reading a book. Or whatever the future year 5000 equivalent of books is.
Yeah. You could think of it as like, you can still get your hands on like a physical book, but I would say most reading's done on like tablets. Like kind of like, imagine like Star Trek looking tablets that are like see-through that you can kind of pull up. Like,
yeah, sure. Like, whatever medium is normal, is the medium he's using. Cool. It's just like on gardening, and anytime anybody comes over and is like, hey man, what are you looking up, he's like switches tabs. A porn, cool stuff, not anything lame.
Definitely not how to grow a potato.
Porn,
very easy.
Oh, what kind of porn? No, you wouldn't like it. It's old age porn. Real bad.
So where do you think you're doing this? Are you still in like where the printer's at? Would you be doing this like kind of next to the printer? Because the printer's probably pretty isolated. Most people are kind of out in places that are not extremely hot, especially with the heat coming off of this. If you're looking for isolated places, or there is you could kind of like look around and find different places to read and everything.
I imagine that in the where the printer is, there's like a garage or something that just like lets the heat out. Probably just like sitting in that space, like have the nice rain in the background. It's nice and toasty inside. Nobody's bothering me.
Yeah. Perfect. And so yeah, with get focused, basically I get to give your pilot a new +2 trigger based on the practice and training. So what kind of books were you reading? Was anything?
It's literally just like gardening, just like vegetable gardening.
Yeah. Then you could get a +2 trigger for gardening then.
Oh yeah.
That seems super easy to do.
Hell yeah.
+2 to just all vegetable related activities.
Right.
Fuck you and your hot load. I can grow eggplants.
I do like to think that at some point, while you're kind of like flipping through this book and everything, maybe it does get a little bit too hot. So maybe you do kind of look for a new place to kind of, like a little cooler place to kind of read your book in private. So I like to think that your quest for that location that's kind of secluded, but with kind of like a place to read by yourself, it takes you to probably the roof of the main factory complex. There seems to be kind of like a little bit of an overhang and like a balcony that you can kind of look out, and you kind of stumble out there, and then as you look through the door, you do see several soldiers in rain ponchos who are stationed on the lookout. So it has a little bit of overhang, but not enough to really protect a lot of them from the rain. But as soon as maybe you're like about to back away, and one of them calls out like, "Hey, before you go, you got a light?"
Actually, probably, because I wasn't with them in their last conversation, but I actually do have a mechanical arm. I imagine it probably like just one of my fingers is just like, or better yet, it's the new fucking lighters that had like the zapper.
Oh, it's a plasma lighter?
Yeah, I just imagine like my thumb and like pointer finger.
Yeah, you put them together, it just like does a like electricity.
Yeah, just
between them.
Yeah, just walk over and just like touch their cigarettes, basically.
They take a deep breath in. They kind of let out the smoke, and they gesture actually to the explosions going on in the city and everything. And they say, "Man, take a look at this shit." One of them actually hands his binoculars over to you to look through. And if you do look through, you can see that the city is illuminated in light amplified greens that bloom white with distant explosions. Gunfire pops and streaks across the sky at night, across the night sky. And you can just make out dark mechanical shapes stalking between the buildings. As you kind of take a look through there, the guy who you probably initially kind of called out to you goes, "I'm Frank, by the way. Vicky, Sal.
Mumtaz.
Hey, you're from Union, right?"
Yeah, we just came down. Well, my fire team's not here, but we just came down from the Rio Grande earlier today after we got shot down. So that was cool. That was a rough awakening.
Yeah. Well,
do you guys know like who's fighting who? Like, I mean, I get like the general gist of it, but like because you guys are with Union too, right? Like, how do we play into this?
So Vicky actually inhales like a kind of a big puff on her cigarette, tosses it at the ground, and kind of stomps it real quick. You actually recognize that these soldiers are not from Union. They're from the LSA. And Vicky spurts out real quick. She spits on the ground. She goes, "No, those sovereignty bastards came in here. We're from the LSA. Thought you knew that."
I'm meeting a lot of people today. I'm gonna be honest. Again, I was in space a couple hours ago. I got shot down. Had to kill some people. It's been a day. And I don't even really know the whole political landscape, and that's not like no bashing on you guys. Like, you guys got your thing, like that's cool. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know how I fit into this, and it's not like the shit on you guys. I want to help where I can.
I say, Mothman, you definitely don't get the Omni Hook next time.
She pokes you in your chest, and she starts kind of like getting really upset. She goes, "Well, I don't give a shit that you don't know what the fuck's going on. It's your fault that this is happening. You came down here trying to get us into Union, and now these fucking commie bastards are rolling in here and taking over our city and killing our people. This is your fault." She storms off. As she kind of like goes through the same door that you entered in. Frank like takes another puff of his cigarette. He goes, "Don't mind her. She lost her husband earlier today, so can't say she's having a good day.
Don't really know how to respond to that one. That sounds like she probably had a worse day than I did, not gonna lie.
She's probably just taking it out on you, obviously. But
Nah, man, I get it. Shit happens.
yeah.
Like I said, I want to help. I just like I've yet to know the best way for me to do that, and I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah. Well, the best in sovereignty, it's been a cold war between LSA and them for a while. I think, much like Vicky just said, this probably the introduction of you guys coming and trying to bring us into the fold turned into a hot war. So I think the best thing you can do now is probably get your captain, probably get out of here. We'll try to sell this ourselves.
Hey, man, if you, I'll do what I can. If you guys think that's best, I'm not gonna push back.
Yeah. And don't mind the slurs she was throwing. I'm not even sure she really knows what she's talking about right now. So.
Or Kami?
Yeah. So.
I didn't realize that was a slur, but okay.
Yeah. He pats you on the back. He goes, "Thanks for the light."
Anytime, man. Literally, and I make my fingers zap.
I thought that was a boop him on the nose kind of thing.
No, it's my.
I kiss him on his face.
This is how we say goodbye in Union. You don't have to say goodbye.
I'm curious about the Kami thing, because like out of character, like knowledge of the world.
Yeah.
Like we're the Union, the third Union, and the current like universal government, and just the universe in general we're like actively recovering from like corpo fascist rule at this point, right?
Right.
Okay.
I was just making up stuff. So
okay. I wasn't sure if that was like a quote.
No.
Your idea of a villain is a communist. Damn, Spencer.
Really show your colors. Yeah, I was just kind of confused that like the Union, I guess, would be siding with the people who would fight communists, which like the capitalists on the planet. That seems odd to me.
Spencer just really wants to go back to like the second directive or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Marx killed that chick's husband or whatever.
My brain, so obviously in the campaign, it kind of sets it up where it seems like, even though it doesn't directly say, it does seem to be a allegory to kind of like a Cold War between the US and Soviet Russia, just back in the day, just with how they kind of set it up. So I think that's where my mind kind of went. It could just be like, I don't know, if I want to try to go with this, what I kind of think as like a flub in me kind of like having to respond to stuff, we could say that maybe that's while the LSA has been welcoming to Union, maybe they don't fully agree with the government practices that they employ. So
it's also could be plenty of propaganda. It's like I feel like so far we've only got the LSA side of things, since that's like the side we're kind of coming in to help.
Yeah.
So you know what? Maybe the sovereignty is the good guys and the LSA is the bad guys.
Yeah.
They do apparently have the cooler lasers. And when has the bad guy ever had cooler lasers than the good guy?
Name one time.
Name one time.
Green's kind of cooler than red.
Excluding all of the Star Wars movies, name one time.
It's not all of them. Didn't they flip it at one point? Like the prequels or something, like flipped it for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. They're cool now. Got an animated show. So once again, that was another kind of like downtime activity with that. And yeah, your reward was that. Oh, you know what? Hold on. You get a reserve as well. Let's see. Before you go, Frank kind of like grabs you, or sorry, Sal probably, kind of grabs you and goes, "Hey, by the way, I left something downstairs. If you're going back up there to help us out. You're gonna need some extra stuff. It's a recon drone, so take that with you when you go back out, okay?
Won't say no to that.
Cool. So that is the 5 to 6 reserve, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So there you go.
At the start of each combat, choose a single hostile target within range 50 and scan them. So we basically just get a free ID on somebody we see on the map.
Mm-hmm. Which is nice.
It's also nice that it's range 50, because that way it could just like not even be in combat.
I mean, that was pretty useful when Ashley did that in one of the combats.
Oh yeah,
core power.
her core power usage really gave us a lot of good info.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
this one's also, isn't it once per turn, I think?
It's at once at the start of combat.
Mhm.
Okay.
The thing you just got.
Yeah. Okay.
Justin, Chris, do you have any idea of what your downtime action's gonna be?
Yeah, I mean, I think I know what I would do. I would probably, because my goal would be to get the reserve of being able to add armor.
Oh yeah, upping your armor. Okay.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't know if I could do it with getting creative, or also maybe getting connected and going to like the quartermaster or something.
Power at a cost is kind of like a generic I want to get something.
Yeah, I would say power at a cost would work.
Okay.
Because what I did like had a chance of failure, kind of, or like it's like weird where like if I roll low, it's kind of bad for me to have it. Power at a
Right.
cost is just like you'll get it. It's just kind of like up to the GM. Like if there's any consequences or anything weird about it, the GM just kind of like directs you to where. So like Spencer, if it's one of the look around actions,
Yes, it is.
it might be a good idea to just run that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, whatever you feel is necessary, then I'm fine with.
Yeah,
I would like
absolutely.
I would like to armor up my map.
Okay. So it's probably going to be. I think the thing that makes the most sense is that you get it, but it's going to fall apart damn soon because it's temporary armor. So you're making +1 armor for the duration of the next mission. So that's going to be power at a cost. You're going to get it, and it's going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart damn soon because it's only going to be for the next mission. So, and here's, let me go ahead and do the look around for what kind of happens with that. So, basically, oh, this works really well. Okay, cool. So you originally were all sitting like kind of watching your mechs being built, and then so Rico actually followed Kish as he went to go kiss the boots of Rex and the boys.
Yeah, I remember.
And Rico probably goes back into the printing facility. Probably sees Mumtaz in the corner, like reading, flipping through different like his magazine. Right.
No, it's not.
Porn.
It's boring. It's
really weird porn you don't want to see.
It's really hot though and masculine too. It's really masculine.
You think porn in 2020 is weird? Just wait.
So you come back in to the printing facility, and you hear over near the printer, come to check on her, huh? Don't worry, she'll be good as new. Hell, these mechs of yours practically build themselves. And you look over, and it's Vanna Mayhew, the chief engineer. She kind of waves you over. While the mechs are actually being built, there is like a team of like engineers kind of like checking on the printer, making sure it's okay, trying to cool it down as much as they can and everything. Like I mentioned before, it's sweltering because it's running far beyond its normal tolerances. And with the rain's really coming down hard now, so even going outside, it's like you're either soaked or you're hot and sweaty. It's not really, there's no good options here.
Right.
So maybe you come up to Vana and you start pitching some of the different like armor you can put on it, like saying like, hey, can we have like these different touches? And maybe because of your background, she actually kind of, she's like, oh, you know what you're talking about. You designed a lot of this yourself, huh?
Oh yeah, actually, you see that? It's that giant spike on the front. It's a big pneumatic spike,
Yeah.
and that shoots out the chest, goes right through the. I had it actually earlier. I had it as like a pulse explosion thing. Didn't go very far. It was very hot. It's short
Oh.
blast. Yeah, but that's a little tinkering I've been doing.
Yeah. She has her arms kind of crossed. She's very well built, and she probably has like a jacket she's tied around her waist because of the heat and everything. And as you're describing all this, she's like nodding along, and she goes, hey, why don't we everything is just about done, why don't we go make some tweaks to it? And she actually goes and helps you, like as you're strapping on the armor and stuff like that, she's like helping you get it tightly on there as much as she can. So
Nice.
Every once in a while, like as you're like tightening the armor on, they probably put the mech closer to like one of the hangar doors as you're kind of like tightening and stuff, and it's probably cooler there. And so every once in a while, Vana will kind of look up out at the city and goes, man, it's really hard to see it like this.
Yep.
You know,
I'm not from here, so I don't really have a frame of reference. That's why I was trying to be empathetic.
oh man. Well, hopefully this war doesn't last long, because gosh, this is not what this city is about. It's not supposed to be destroyed. It's got a lot of
I don't think any city's supposed to be destroyed, bro.
hey, let me have this moment. Let me
Yeah,
tell
let
you.
her have her feelings.
Let me tell you, Rico, there's a restaurant that we have here. There's a squid, actually,
Ooh.
that's native here. Well, native as it could be after 500 years. It developed bioluminescence that actually glows at certain parts of the night.
Oh, does it glow when you eat it?
Yeah, actually, it's great. What they did was they built a restaurant with it's clear, like a clear glass like bottom, so the squids will float up to the bottom of the restaurant while you're eating, and they'll glow. You can see them light up beneath you.
Oh, that's awesome. We should go there.
Yeah. Well, if it's still open.
If it exists. And all the squids have not been killed due to the heavy vibration of the assault.
Do you drink too?
I'm drunk right now.
Oh, hey, hand one of those to me.
Pulls that another beer from his jacket.
Yeah. She cheers.
He goes to the mech and he pulls one out.
Don't tell anybody about this.
My revised, I pulled out so because of what I had to do with my changes and stuff, I have a personalization now, and that's my personalization.
Yeah.
2 extra.
Don't tell anybody about my stash, okay?
Don't tell me.
Don't worry, secret's safe with me. By the way, I got a secret too. One of my favorite bars is a place called Grout. Well, I often go there when I'm not, in uniform. And she gestures to her like professional clothes, and she goes, it's just nice to relax when people aren't putting you on a pedestal, being chief engineer and everything. And
I bet. All right. Well, thanks for the help on my armor.
yeah.
And I'm glad. Should we play this game again, I will use you as a continued contact.
Oh, great. Would love to. She maybe you exchange information, like the best way to communicate here on planet and stuff like that. So
my information from my eyeball into her eyeball implant.
Oh, that's great. Oh, never had that happen before.
To make the dial-up screech.
Yeah.
Please never do that again.
It's incredibly invasive.
It's incredibly. I'm having regrets. So perfect. Yeah, you get your armored. What was that reserve specifically called?
The reserve is called armoring, and I get a +1 at the start of combat.
Yeah.
With and I start combat with +5 over shield.
So there you go. She kind of gives you some LSA technology that's able to kind of put a little bit of an overshield up for that first battle. So great.
It's +1 armor for the next mission, and I start the next combat with overshield.
Perfect. Okay. Chris, do you have an idea of what you want to do?
I think I would most likely, so after using the majority of my repairs,
Yeah.
I would probably be consulting the base mechanic on how to more like, so I'm looking for like extra repairs, which is just the equipment gear with like this +2 repair cap.
Yeah.
And in this case, I'm just trying to see if they have, air quotes advice or whatever for getting less the shit beat out of me.
Yeah. So let's see here. I guess we could do. And that reserve is in the core rulebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that temporary at all, or?
I mean, so any reserve.
Okay, yeah. Supplies that give max. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually for like the course of the mission, I think.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, Dalton?
I was just gonna say that like any reserves are like used up. Like they don't. It's not just like a permanent. Like he gets +2 repair cap forever.
Right.
Yeah. We could do power at a cost again, and then you could get that reserve if that sounds good with you.
Certainly could. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it's like power at a cost. You name a reserve and get it. Get creative is a way to get reserves. Like you make some sort of creation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Get focused is what Mike did, and that like adds skill triggers. Get organized.
I'm thinking more like get creative, where I'm like just shooting the shit with like the local, like whoever like the head engineer in the base is.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to tinker and like fix it up.
what,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
you're describing, Chris, kind of sounds like get connected.
Mm.
When you get connected, you make connections, call in favors, ask for help, or drum up support for a course of action. You can use your contacts, resources, or aid as reserves for the next mission.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So in that case, yeah, I think at the very least, even if it's not something I'd get like right now, maybe it's something that like someone that I can like plan for the next time we're back at Saber after we kind of do the next sortie.
Yeah. So go ahead and make a roll then.
Six.
Okay. On a 9 or less, your contact will help you, but you've got to do a favor and make good on a promise right now. If you don't, they won't help you. So here's what I like to think happens. This can kind of tie into looking around. So you're like going around, like you first go up to Vanna and you're like, hey, I want to get like more supplies so I can do more repairs while out in the field and stuff like that. And she explains to you like, hey, things are pretty tight with the printer right now. Why don't you go talk to some of the soldiers over there? She gestures to some of the other LSA soldiers mixed in with the Union soldiers. And she goes, I'm sure they might have some parts scattered about or something like that, but I would double check with them first. So you kind of go over and approach this group. And you start to try to like maybe say like, hey, I'm looking for some more like equipment and stuff. And immediately, they look over and they go, "Oh, hey Union pilot, come here. We need an impartial third party for this." And so you're gathered over before you can even start talking to them about repairs and such like that. And it's a group of LSA soldiers and Union soldiers, like, in a heated debate right now. And they need your outside perspective to settle this dispute. And so you kind of come over to this like table, and splayed on this table are pictures and a few like of the little tablets with screens with videos playing. And as you start to look at it, you notice that it's an argument about whose partner is the cutest. So yeah. So one LSA soldier comes in and goes, okay, no, but Jenny here. She's so cute. Look at her. This is when we went to the beaches over there at Atlanthia. It was beautiful. You could see the squids glow at night. Oh, look at her in that sundress. And then another a Union soldier barks through and goes, nah, my boy. Oh, look at him here. And shows like his boyfriend clearly. Clearly maybe a little bit too risque than what some of the other soldiers would be looking at. And he goes, see, that's cute right there. So, and another girl comes in and goes, no, looky here. And she shows her husband just like kind of like in like probably like a wedding photo, and goes, look, see, you know, obviously this is the happiest day of my life. Clearly this is the cutest. And so they're all, after they've all introduced their different partners, turn to you and look to you for judgment in this scenario.
Well then, so I would be of more help, but I'm only into cat girls.
Oh, you hear groans from everyone as they throw their hands up.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, but just, you know, I can't judge cuteness outside of that. So I mean, I know they seem all equally cute and adorable, but I don't feel like I'm a good viable third party here. Now, if you found me some spare parts and you know, mech supplies, I might be persuaded otherwise.
They all kind of turn to each other and they go, You'll really decide if we can find you some extra supplies?
Oh, for sure.
All right. Well, and they all kind of like start thinking about what to ask of you. And a Union soldier goes up, hey, why don't you save Captain Bridges herself? Bridget Ferris, yeah.
So that's who I need to go talk to?
No, that's who you need to save. That's what we're down here for.
Wait, am I missing something?
No. They're making a unreasonable request right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did that earlier. It's fine.
Oh, really?
We got that out of the way. Took her up to the Rio Grande myself.
Oh.
Comms are still blocked, right? They couldn't.
That's true. And so. And get connected. Since you rolled 9 or less, you've got to do a favor or make a promise right now.
Yeah.
If you don't, they won't help you. So another one goes, fine. Look, there's some, there's a triage station not too far from here. Can you just go and do a few things over there, and we'll find some supplies for you.
I can go lend a hand. But I was planning on picking the cutest partner. I was still gonna do that. Need to make sure everyone like shakes hands and agrees that like my arbitration is final first.
You shake hands with like 10 different people, as they're all just like, yeah, of course.
I like the fact that these 10 random people were like, yo, who's the cutest? And the person they're willing to accept as the final decision has openly admitted, I'm only into cat girls.
Well,
and
yeah,
they're like, this guy will be a fair judge of him.
And I will, because I scrounge up either ideally an actual dart or something akin to a dart, and then I just have them like hang up all their things on a wall, blindfold myself, and just chuck it at the wall. Whichever one it hits, that's the one.
It flies through the air.
It's
And yeah, as soon as the dart hits, as all the pilots look eagerly to see like what it is, it turns out to be a picture of a dog, and they all are like looking around at each other, and then finally turn to the one person who's just like, it's not my partner, but I think he's cute.
The dogs are cute. Yeah, I think the dog wins.
They all
Fair third-party arbitration.
they all look a little bit amused, but also a little bit upset that their partners were not chosen. But
Sucks to suck.
they point you in the direction of the triage station, and as long as you do a few hours there and then come back, they have those repairs for you. So
Yep, and I do actually have patch as one of my triggers, so
great.
I am medically practiced, sort of, technically.
Perfect.
Not licensed.
Yeah. Yeah, as you walk in, you're immediately bombarded because a doctor yells at you, I need 2 units, O negative. And you, grab that pad and put pressure on the wound. So she yells for the units at somebody else, but as soon as you walk through the door, they point at you for grabbing the pad and put pressure on that wound. So
The
you are
pad
just
for pressure on the wound.
yeah, wrapped into this this like triage kind of going on right now. So why don't you go ahead and give me just like a normal roll and add your skill to it, or your trigger. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I think we've established before, but I have both patch and stay cool, but I can't do, it's one or the other, right? Not both.
Correct. Yeah.
Can I get advantage for having a second one that specifically applies to the situation?
It's not a normal mechanic that I would say is
Advantage even in this game?
not for mine.
It would be an accuracy.
Yeah, accuracies, yeah.
Yeah.
I rolled a 5.
Okay.
D20 is not enjoying me tonight.
But yeah, 2, so you get 7. So it's less of your skill set probably, and more so the fact that this is a chaotic makeshift triage, that it's things are going like could be going better, right? Like because you find yourself in this makeshift triage station just as a wounded soldier is hurriedly brought in. They're bleeding badly, and medics are short in supply. So you're just in additional hands applying pressure. Maybe you're giving some advice as you're kind of doing it and fetching supplies, but it's less of your skill and more so that you're not properly equipped for this.
Yeah, getting thrown feet first into the deep end of the metaphorical triage pool.
But after like a couple hours, the few patients that were brought in are stabilized, and you kind of leave fulfilling your promise to the group of soldiers. And as you go back to the soldiers, you're covered in blood, just because of you're holding down wounds and stuff like that. But they see that you clearly were worked hard, and they have your plus 2 repairs ready for you to go. So, but yeah.
Cool.
And from there, everybody has participated in downtime activity and the looking around. So that's it. From there, we would probably have your pilots like go to rest, sleep, wake back up. You guys get your mechs, you get your full repair done, and you probably get briefed for your next mission. Unfortunately, this is where we're ending our Lancer campaign because we have a couple more coming up like Dune, but I really enjoyed Lancer. I really think that we can pick up this campaign in the future, or do something, just do more Lancer in the future. But yeah, for the most part, if we want to kind of talk about some of our experiences, we're going to have a full campaign discussion next week during our normal time for about an hour, just to kind of discuss our campaign thoughts as a whole. But do you guys have any questions about downtime specifically, or how that kind of worked?
No,
This
I
isn't
mean,
a-
I think I get it.
Yeah.
This isn't really a question as much of a statement. It's weird. Not weird in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's different compared to, again, like D&D is kind of like the baseline.
Yeah.
Of where I go into town and I talk to the villagers and I find out what I find out. And that's kind of just like, I might have a goal of like, I want to learn about this thing.
Yeah.
But I have I have a guess that, maybe the blacksmith knows about it. But other than that, you're just like shooting fish in a barrel kind of thing of like, I'm just going to see what I find.
Yeah.
It's interesting that this downtime with the like reserves is specifically like, I want to do this thing. And there will be like a mechanic to get it.
Yeah. That's something that's lacking in D&D, right? Like they had to bring out some extra stuff in Xanthars to kind of like add that in, right? So downtime activity is really programmed into the game, it seems like.
So
But
I think it feels like Lancer in general is more like on rails, and I think they obviously give you tools to kind of go outside those rails and stuff. But I do think that like one of the big fun points of D&D and like more free form kind of tabletop role-playing games is just like the wacky shenanigans and like things that kind of lead from that more open-ended, just kind of like figuring stuff out, and doing things that lead to unintended consequences that lead to new events that kind of tie back into the story, etc.
yeah.
So I definitely like Lancer.
I agree with that, and that all of these reserves, none of them are just like hang out or like vibe. They're all
Yeah, there are.
but even that one, like, it has specific not rewards per se, but it's like you still roll a die and it's still like you gain a good reputation, a friend or connection, a useful like there's still mechanics like tied to it.
Yeah.
It's not like I just want to go to a bar and just like de-stress and that's it. There's still a roll, there's still like a mechanic. I still gain something, I still might lose something. It's just there isn't an option of just like I just want to hang out. Like it all has a specific action oriented to it.
Yeah, the idea that you just fail at drinking, you're just like, whoops, I guess I just
Well, it's not that you fail at drinking.
missed. Like the number of times I have blacked out like not on purpose is close to zero. It's not zero, but it's close to zero. Whereas like Lancer, yeah, no, I would never partake of alcohol. But like, so like Lancer, for example, like I think it's like a 1 to 9 or something on drinking. You lose your dignity, all of your possessions, or your memory. Like that's a 50% chance that you just like.
Oh, you lose 2 of them.
Wind
so
up in a
only keep
gutter.
1 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, with only 1 remaining. Oh yeah, okay, yep, yeah. So like 50%. Like, I go out drinking water on a pretty good number of occasions, and it's not a 50-50 shot of whether or not I wind up in a gutter.
But
Well,
Chris,
you're
this
not
is
you're not
military
drinking. Yeah, this is 1, military drinking, and 2, far future space alcohol.
I'll have you know, I will down a quarter of a bottle of 151 on some occasions.
We probably managed to get over 100% out ABV in some of this stuff. We've
Yeah.
like
It's
broken the
all
laws
like-
of physics. We invented
Getting over 100 BAC. What's your point?
They've liquefied meth. That's what we're drinking.
It's not alcohol anymore. It's just
Just meth.
Plus, like, who cares about my possessions? I'll just print more.
can you print more dignity?
Yeah.
It's just weird that all of them have a specific, and like I wanted to just like not do a whole lot on mine, and the best I could do was still gain +2 to a new skill. Will I use gardening? I mean, if we continue the campaign, probably not, but I still have it. I wasn't allowed to just like read in peace.
I do like the idea of like having a battle mech. You have like a little like planter on like the back of it or something. Like little Little
I'm
garden
growing
area.
herbs in my cockpit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, cool. Well, yeah, that's Lancer in a nutshell, because we did a full first mission, downtime activities, all that kind of fun stuff. So like we were saying before, it's definitely more of like a on rails thing. The downtime activities, that was pretty free flowing. They didn't really tell me how I should go about that. They just kind of gave a list of reserves. They do the introduction, the thing that I read to you guys last week. They kind of talk, they give me some stuff that's happening in the base, they give the exotic gear, but for the most part it just goes straight into like the looking around, and it just says they have opportunity to explore forward operating base Saber and participate in one downtime activity each. Downtime activities are always for PCs to begin long-term projects and acquire reserves, and then it just says like basically it just gives the different encounters that could happen, which I had each of you kind of have happen as you were doing stuff on base. And each of them, like, you could roll a d20. There's 10 different ones. You could roll a d20 and get one of them, just like how it is set up for the reserves I shared with all of you guys. That also says to like share. Everything else is kind of like on me just to kind of make stuff up, or just off the top of my head. But yeah, so I think it does a good job at kind of like encouraging the structured role play, right? So
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely more of a board game, but there's a fair amount of roleplay elements that you can have. It's just not every section, really, like D&D or something like that, or certainly, really a lot of the other games that we've played so far. Fun board game, though.
Yeah.
Super fun board game. And what's nice is you can kind of, you could adjust the time, So this was maybe like, so we really kind of took our time with this, getting to know the system and stuff like that. But I think you could probably do like a one shot where you just did, that kind of
a combat.
Yeah, it's just like one combat, and then you could do something like double your damage or something like that to make sure it goes super fast. Or just stick to the one combat.
Yeah, I mean, like if you kind of like reframe it a little bit, and like how we interacted with the game was a short mission where we were just trying to get to a base in a day. If we were to go on some mission that maybe was like a long campaign, like that took a week or a month, you would do like smaller combats more frequently with more role playing in between, like more story beats in between a lot more combats, and that would allow for a more narrative type of game. Like I wouldn't really hold it against this game that the adventure we played was less narrative heavily, because that's like that's how we interacted with these rules in this instance. I think that there's definitely still space for all of that type of like role playing and adventure and shenanigans. It's just we interacted with it in the context of a starter set type mission.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like D&D 5e Tomb of Annihilation. Like that's a hex crawl. I'm trying to think of how this game would change if you gave it more of like, again, not compared to this starter campaign, but it's just like you're going to an alien world and you have to survive a week, a month, or you have to go from this base to this other base, and they're 100 miles apart, and you just have to walk there in your mech. Like,
yeah,
how different the game would be if it was, here's 2 combats, you're done.
Yeah.
Even if we played the next combat, just like how different the game would feel now that we know what we're doing and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
and go ahead.
I mean, I appreciate the quick context in this time, because it gave me like, I wasn't worried about blowing all of my abilities and like using everything, but it would definitely change like how I think about using resources and like using repairs and like limited abilities and stuff. It'd be an interesting thing to think about. I mean, like the idea of a hex crawl type version of this game is kind of interesting.
It's pretty cool because on page 45, making skill checks, it does talk about like like on page 45 on the right side, second paragraph, skill checks can cover activities as broad or specific as the narrative requires. For example, a skill check might cover an entire day's worth of infiltration into a covert facility, or you might instead roll for individual movements of action, sneaking into vents, hacking doors, disabling guards, and so on. So, I think that it's really cool that they kind of have it built in that they're like, you can change the scope as much as you kind of want. If you want it to be like, it always describes like the skill check should like represent the amount of work that's being put in. Like if one skill check is for several months of work, it should still reflect that kind of work that you're still putting in to it. And whether or not you're like, not necessarily, oh, you just don't do anything over 3 months. It's like, no, you were doing stuff, but here's how much you're able to accomplish. So, which is cool.
I also think we knew going into this, like, there were 3 combats, and we didn't do the middle one. I also think it'd be interesting not knowing, like D&D, I don't know. I know what the final boss battle is, but like, outside of that, I don't know how long a dungeon is. I don't know how many rooms or bad guys there are. So you have to like strategically think about spending your resources versus this one. We got into the 3rd combat. We knew it was the last one. Like, fuck it. Using my core power immediately because I got to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And just like all of the stuff that we didn't use the first combat, we're like, time to use it because literally I can't ever after this. So, and I did think of this one thing we didn't get into because I thought of this when you mentioned infiltration. We didn't get into like human combat or like human
pilot combat. Yeah.
Pilot.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe not even like combat, but just like human roles outside of. I mean, we just did like the downtime, but we didn't.
We
play
did a
our
little
character.
bit with like the
I guess.
button
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah. And that could really change a lot of the in-between of the game and such, outside of mech combat. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Super neat, very evocative. World building wise and art wise and rules wise, it all makes me want to think about it more and interact with it more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd definitely give this a thumbs up and a rec. Lots of fun. If you get the opportunity to play, you definitely should. It's a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. I spent a ton of time like theory crafting builds and stuff. So I think the first couple license levels are kind of less interesting because you're so limited, I think, on options. But I think later license levels, once you open up, you can like kind of start customizing your mech a lot more and putting together builds and stuff is where it probably gets a lot more interesting too, even as just a board game component.
Yeah, like even just license level 2, there's a lot to think about.
Thinking about I mean, our viewers don't know who Reiko is, but I think at least Spencer and Dalton do. I think this game is interesting, thinking about how Reiko would play it with the concept of min-maxing. Like D&D, you can min-max, everyone knows it. Some people try, some people don't. But it's somewhat hard in that, like, if I'm this subclass, these are the abilities I get. I think the concept of min-maxing in Lancer would be interesting because of the fact that I can take any path I want and I can respec that path at any given time. So maybe with just like license level 1, this is the best rifle I can get. But with license level 2 in a different mech, maybe it has a better rifle. So I go with, class A for now. But then I go double up on class 2 the next time because with the whole min-maxing thing is you can just constantly change it.
Yeah. It's pretty neat because, like you're saying, because there's that customization in between missions, like you would get your next mission the next day, and this is a lot more clear because you kind of went in blind to your first mission. But it does actually, and this is supposed to be the case most of the time, you get a lot more information based on like what you've been fighting and be on the ground now. Like basically the mission parameters your main mission for number 2 is basically to take out the jamming communication put up by the Vestan Sovereignty, right? And it says the existence of the jamming network also indicates that the Sovereignty forces have significant electronic warfare assets at their disposal. Anticipate systematic invasion and localized sensor jamming / optical camouflage equivalent capabilities. So it right there, it tells you, hey, these are the types of enemies on the horizon. So,
and like even that adds another opportunity for roleplay, like the preparation phase of the like gameplay loop, that we didn't really like have an opportunity to interact with. Like you get your mission, and then there's a step where we know the mission, but we haven't gone on it, and we can interact with each other and plan. And like, well, you could do that fully out of character and discuss, like, I'm bringing this equipment, I'm bringing this equipment. My build is going to look like this. Your build is going to look like that. That's an opportunity to play out in character, having those discussions. Because whether they're like me, Dalton, asking Nye what kind of stuff he's going to put on, Backfire could also be asking Mothman that same question, and it still kind of play out almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like be an opportunity to do more role playing.
That's also interesting to me, and something I didn't think about is like, again, D&D, like I'm a paladin. I'm the healer, and I smite, and like I'm the marshal of the party, and that's like my role throughout this entire campaign. Dalton and I could just like, Dalton, I want to be close combat this mission. I mean, just like we could just switch, and there's absolutely no restriction for that. It's also interesting in that like Ashley wasn't here tonight. Let's say we had a new mission. She's one of our support people. Theoretically, if we had two, like both Dalton and Justin are pretty close combat, but if we decided we only needed one close combat, but we really needed a support, one of them could just like switch into the thing that we don't have, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Not bad, not good. It's just like very different from other
Python
RPGs
gets called off to a different mission, so she can't join you that mission. So then somebody has to take over her role. Yeah. So yeah, lot of cool stuff. We're still gonna have our post-campaign discussion where we could probably go into more detail about like this game as a whole and everything next week. But thank you for tuning in today. I think we have a list of attributions to do, right, Dalton?
Yep. Yeah. I gotta tell you, give me more than like 30 seconds. Like
no, hold up right now.
8 seconds to do this.
While you're doing that,
you're fired.
Hey there, everyone. We're gonna have our post-campaign discussion next week. We're basically just gonna be giving like our full thoughts on like the campaign. You heard a little bit right now here at the end, kind of like some general thoughts of just us discussing, but more so about our rankings and such. I think Justin, you definitely want to give your recommendation because I don't think you're gonna be here next week, just like Chris as well, right? So both of you guys want to kind of give your thoughts on that and everything. So thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. But yeah, we'll talk more about it next week. On the horizon, in March, we're going to be doing the Dune tabletop role-playing game made by Modifius using their 2D20 system. So tune in for that because it's going to be tons of fun.
Yeah, all right.
When the Dune.
Cool. Well, thanks to everybody at Massif Press for Lance for the game we just played. Thank you to John Arena and the rest of the team that made CompCon. Thanks to NASA for our picture of space in the background. Thanks to DS Technician for Desolate World, the little background song you can hear. Thanks to Roll20 for the virtual tabletop that we used and did a very good job just displaying a picture for us today. Thanks to Heroforge for all the miniature art of people you can see, and to Retrograde Minis for the pixel art of all the mechs that you can see. If any of this is like interesting to you, you can find you can purchase the main rules for Lancer on Massif's itch.io page, and they are slowly gearing towards the second printing of physical copies of the core rulebook. It's been out of print for a while, but later this year you should be able to get physical copies of the book either from Massif Press directly or at whatever local game stores, and probably some other places that you shouldn't be spending your money at.
I want a copy.
Yep, I'll definitely be buying a copy. I'm sad that I missed out on the original Kickstarter.
But now it's revised. I'm just kidding. Second
Yeah.
printing.
Cool.
Yeah, but it's the collector's edition to get the first one with all the typos.
It's true. Someone was trying to sell their first edition printing on the subreddit the other day. I didn't look at what they were trying to sell it for, but they were like, "I'm selling it on eBay, guys." All right, cool. Well, like Spencer said, you can find us here next week to talk about all of our feelings and opinions about the game, and soon after that, some of us will be playing Dune. So make sure you catch up on the lore, learn about what space worms are and stuff.
Nope, come into it blind. You don't need to know the how many books are in the Dune series.
Yeah.
There's 3 Dune books, and there's no more.
No, there's way more than 3.
There's 3 books, and that's it.
I have spoken.
I have. It has been said.
Yeah, don't come unless you know all of Dune lore. All.
Right.
Honestly,
There's
you guys just need to watch the David Lynch first, and you'll be fine. That's all you need to do.
You need to make sure you know the extended lore out past even like the first book, because that's just one guy. It goes way further for another guy, and then like thousands of years of content that you need to
Dune
familiar.
RPG. It takes place. It's all Dune Book 1 setting. So it's like an alternate what if scenario.
But there's 20 prequel books that you need to brush up on, because those are important.
All lore required to this game.
Yeah.
We all did the reading.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
I know
right.
my character's running around in the bikini the whole time.
Yeah.
Speedo.
Yep.
Speedo
No
wins.
still.
I mean, it's pretty much a beach, so that makes sense.
No water. No water there.
There's sand.
I said pretty much a beach, yeah.
Pretty much speed.
You have of 2 things you'll find at a beach.
With spice.
It's just a really big beach. The water's over the horizon.
It's underground. It's the water's underground. You have to find it.
Right. Muhadim. Anyways, let's sign off from there. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep on learning, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.